Happy June 28th. It's one of my best friend's mom's birthdays. I have to call her and tell her happy birthday. So how's everybody? I hope everybody's being safe. My daughter lives in Houston and she got an alert on her phone. I think she said it was a red alert and it was saying stay home. So we are actually reverting back to, we're digressing back to where we came from. But just like the authorities had said, they thought we opened up too soon. Some essential businesses, I understand, had to stay open. And I understand about the economy and things like that. But, I would rather, sometimes you have to step back to move forward. So I just think if we would have stayed put maybe a couple of weeks, a month longer, maybe things would be, we can progress, better. So I don't know. I remember watching the Today Show, and there was a man, there was a doctor on there who was the overseer of the Ebola crisis, and he was talking about what he did and what worked, and they should have followed his directions, because you heard about Ebola, but that situation seems like it was maintained, contained, and things went back to normal very quickly. See, I found that a lot of times people don't like having to follow anybody else's orders or instructions or whatever. And I'm guilty of that as well. But one thing I learned is that you got to think about what's going to be the best for the majority. Because if everybody is going to just go and do as they please, and everybody going to get sick, and then everybody's going to be sick, then that's going to be a problem for a whole bunch of people. So I was going to go to Sam's this morning, but it's after 10. It's right after 10 though, but I decided I'm not going to go. I'm going to wait and go later. I didn't work Friday because I got a family emergency call late Thursday night. And so unfortunately my oldest brother passed. He was living in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And so I probably won't be working tomorrow because we're going to have to work out arrangements. And with COVID, and I remember one of my good friends lost a family member, and it was probably almost a month before they were able to transport the body. So I don't know. It's just right now with everything that's going on in the world, it's just a hard time. I've been grieving now for a year and a half, and I told y'all I thought about counseling and stuff like that, and I know it's necessary. I have faith in God. I have hope and everything, but sometimes you need direction. And I do have this book I forgot about that I need to. I think it talks about the stages of grief and how you get through each one, and you have to go through each stage in order to heal or whatever. And basically, getting a new normal. It takes 21 days to form a habit, and if you had somebody in your life 50 years who was there, who loved you unconditionally, and that person leaves, that's hard on anybody, not just me. And that's why I always sympathize with young kids whose moms have left them at such a young age. In fact, I met a young man, he was 5 weeks old, his mom was holding him and she died. And so his grandparents raised him. He's a fine young man, respectful and everything, but it's just a sad situation. And he told me his situation, and he left. And me, I'm a softie. I cried. I didn't let him see me cry. I held it together till he left out of there. But I was like, Lord have mercy. So I was blessed. And so you don't realize how good you have it until you hear somebody else's story. That's why it's good for people to get their testimonies, because it could give you your testimony could give somebody else a new perspective on life. Man, we could just, if we could take away the hate, if we could take away the first time somebody, and I see this a lot, most times when somebody try to tell somebody, give them advice, the first thing is they hate and they jealous. No, sometimes people just want to give you a new outlook on something. Everything, and I keep stressing this, you don't want yes people in your corner all the time. And see, I know I've lost friends. I have, maybe not friends, because the people that I've befriended, even if we may go months without talking, but they ask mama advice on things because they know I'm gonna be real with them. I'm never gonna tell you what you want to hear unless what you want to hear is the truth. You understand? Because so it doesn't cost anything for a person to lie to you. Some people just don't care. They'll watch you self-destruct and really just don't give a darn about you. Don't. It is so sad, but that's the world that we live in right now. I know I'm all over the place, but these are just things that are in my heart, in my mind, in my spirit. And you know, you can't watch a person self-destruct, don't offer your advice or whatever, and then feel good about yourself. Well, I can't. You know, and a lot of times, like, just like people, when people are in need, and the first thing they'll do is, well, I ain't gonna say the first thing, but a lot of people start GoFundMes and things like that. You know, sometimes what we just need to do and pray and ask God for guidance, because sometimes it ain't about you getting monetary blessings from people. It's about you getting the life lessons from God. You understand what I'm saying? People get mad, but I'm being honest. Blessings are not always monetary either. People can bless you with a job. They can bless you with guidance, advice. You know, of course, you want to consider the source. You know, you having marital problems, you don't want to go to your single friend for advice, because she can't, you know, that's like me. I can't tell a person certain things about life, and nothing about things that I haven't experienced. I can offer you my opinion, but it's not based on my factual information, because it's not something I've dealt with. So you have to consider that. You know, and so many people I come in contact with believe everything they hear. But you have to consider the source. You have to consider the source. A person can read something. I remember we had this project, and I know y'all, a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a class, a business class we took. It was a managerial something. I forget what the name of it was. And basically what this class is, we talked about different situations and circumstances and how you handle what happens when you get in a group and all of that. And the professor was brilliant. I'm telling you, I aced that class because it's something about a professor that can teach in a way that's fun, that keeps you engaged. And some of those classes were 3 hours long. But when the class was over, I was like, darn, I'm not ready to go home. It was just that interesting. But anyway, and what it did is, somebody at the beginning gave a scenario, or they made a statement. By the time it got to the last person, and I'm not talking about one of these things where you have to use, you know how on one of those shows, I think it's on one of Ellen shows, Ellen DeGeneres shows, you don't mouth the information. You literally state what the information is, but you put it in a person. I can't remember exactly. I don't know if we wrote down. I can't remember. But what happens is, what they wanted to know is, how was information communicated? Would the last person have the same information as the first person? Y'all, that information had been changed so much to you, it was ridiculous. I was like, wow. Well then, wait a minute. How did they get that out of that? That goes to show you. Think about it. Everybody's comprehension is not the same. So if you tell somebody who's on a 7th or 8th grade level something, by the time it gets to the person at the end, that conversation is totally changed. So that's what I'm saying. You have to consider the source. Quit believing everything you hear. Quit believing everything you hear. And I'm gonna tell you something too. People go and Google, but you better verify the source you're Googling. That's another thing too. You can get misinformed when you Google things as well. That's why I like to go to WebMD and things, especially when it comes to things about the health. And then those two situations are the same. And then there's a thing. My doctor, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna give y'all my testimony because it may help somebody. I had a doctor's appointment. Well, the first one I had, I canceled, I'm going to be honest. Because they were talking about, if you come in contact with somebody with the coronavirus, to not show up or whatever, we're going to do a virtual visit. Well, I knew I had to have blood work. So I didn't want to do a virtual visit. I didn't check in. So the lady called me. And so I know what's going on is that a lot of people not showing up for their doctor's appointments, because I've actually seen that on television. They're saying that people not showing up for their appointments. Let me just go over here. So anyway, she called me, and so I told her, I said, yeah, I said, I had decided not to come. I said, well, let me tell y'all, let me just tell y'all, let me park. So, and I don't know, I may have discussed this, but anyway, a guy had came into my office, and we both had on masks, but he called me, he said, hey, he said, I tested positive for COVID. I was like, oh, okay. So, excuse me, I didn't leave work that day. I went because I had a lot going on. So I left. The next day I went and got tested. It looked like it's gonna rain, but I got an umbrella, so let God do His work. But anyway, so I'm gonna go and park up here. He said, I just wanted to let you know because I hadn't really been in contact with too many people, but I knew I had come over there. I said, okay. So I didn't have any symptoms or whatever. Honestly, when we first had the stay-at-home orders, honestly, that week I was sick, but I think it was my sinuses. But really, my taste buds had left. So I was like, wait a minute. So, but anyway, I went and got tested, and I didn't have it. Now they tell you different stories though, because somebody said if you've been exposed to somebody that tested positive, you have to quarantine for 14 days. Well, what they told me, once I got my results back, that I can go ahead and go back to work, and that's what I did. But anyway, so I wanted to share y'all that with y'all. But anyway, and now what was I saying? Oh, so my doctor's appointment. So I went to my doctor's appointment. It was on a Tuesday, and the weather was really, really bad that day. I had just gotten through doing my hair, and curls was popping. By the time I got to the doctor's office, baby, them things looking like swirls. They had flattened all the way out. But anyway, my logic about it is if my hair is clean, that's my biggest concern. I want it to be pretty too, but I especially want it to be clean. But anyway, so I went to my doctor's appointment, and she had prescribed this medication for me the last time I was there. And so she asked me, had I been taking it? And I told her, I said, honestly, doc, I said, no. I said, because when the pharmacist gave me the medication, when I went and got the prescription filled, well, what happened is when I went to the doctor, the nurse practitioner gave it to me. And so when I went back to her, I told her, I said, well, I didn't take that medication. I said, because when the pharmacist had called me about it and asked me, was I having any kind of complications from it? And I was like, no, why? So I went and did some research, and it was saying that medication in particular would cause you to have joint pain and stuff like that. Well, I didn't experience any of that, but I was afraid, so I stopped taking the medicine. So when I went to the doctor Tuesday, I was telling, she said, well, have you taken the medicine? I was like, no. Now, she prescribed it 6 months ago. And I told her no. She said, well, and I told her why. I said, well, the pharmacist was calling me as soon as I heard. She said, well, I'm going to be honest with you. She said, if the doctor prescribes some medication for you, she said, you need to take it. She said, the pharmacist may have their opinion, but they don't know your medical history. She said, so I'm going to have to put you down as non-compliant for not taking this medication. She said, because if something happened, I don't want it to be on me. And I thought about it. And I'm just being honest. I'm just giving y'all my testimony. Listen, these people have gone to school to get this education, to be able to help us to take better care of ourselves. And I'm just talking about myself in particular. I am a degree professional and was not taking my medication. But once, and so another thing what I did is, that's why y'all see me eating those nuts and yogurt. And that's why I was going to Sam's. I'm going to incorporate more salads. And I don't do red meat that much anyway. So I said we'll have red meat once a week. And so what I'm doing, y'all, is I had researched it. It's called the Mediterranean diet. And you eat fish and poultry. It may be high with carbs. It's not going to do a lot of carbs either. But what I'm saying is, as a Southern girl, we always want to fry and smother and come on now, just keep it real. A lot of the foods we eat are fattening, but I'm going to start doing beans once a week. A lot of salads. The only thing about salads though, fresh lettuce just don't keep. Even in the store it looks bad. I was in Walmart yesterday looking, and that lettuce was horrible. I left it there too. But at Sam's, you get the mixed greens in the blister pack, and I'm telling you, I bought it before. It lasts a whole week, so I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get chicken breasts and season them up good and put them in my air fryer. Cause y'all, a lot of things too, a lot of times people don't understand. They talking about they eating healthy. I'm sorry, I hate to bust your bubble. When you go and get that stuff that's already pre-made, like look like the pizza pockets and the meat. That's all you gotta do is heat it up. It's got the bread and stuff out. Y'all, that stuff is loaded. Look, check out the sodium. Even like them those noodles. I bought the noodles when we first had that stay-at-home order. I think I got them the 22nd of March. Only time I use them, I did a video with them and I share them. And some people saying they do that too, because I took some and made, I didn't have it in noodles. I took some of that and made macaroni and cheese out of it. But those noodles, when you look at the noodles, the nutritional value, what they do is they give you per serving. But on one package of noodles, it's 2 servings. So 1 pouch of that seasoning packet for them noodles is all the sodium you need for a day. For a whole day. And so that's what I had. Well, I don't even buy new. Y'all see my videos. My son don't even eat noodles. What I get him is we do wheat bread, and then I go get him the little sliced ham that be like 40 calories or whatever. I try to buy stuff like that for him. And like I buy chips, but I taught him as a kid, I used to buy him snacks and he just eat it, be gone. So now I've taught him, you know, now that he's grown, he know. Like I bought that, y'all remember I bought that, I think it's 40 count bag of chips. He hadn't eaten all that. It's a lot of those chips. He may eat one a day. Like if I bake a cake, he'll eat 1 slice of cake and it'll be his dessert at night. So he said, you know, gluttony is a sin. So yeah, but like I said, I'm all over the place. I know I'm rambling, but it's just things that's on my heart to talk about. And if I come on here and tell you something, it's not what I heard, it's what I've experienced. Or if I heard it, I've researched it, because I don't want to be, and listen, I don't like to be misinformed, and I don't like to misinform anybody. Like, I had a situation a couple of weeks ago where a friend of mine had called me about an issue, and then I had shared it with a few people, and I felt bad because it didn't go like it was supposed to go. And I'm not going to go into detail because I just can't. But anyway, what had happened was just what I said happened, but the situation was deflected and it wasn't communicated. So I'm privy to more than what, I'm not going to say ordinary because I'm ordinary too, but what most people are privy to, but just some things are not disclosed, and I'm not I'm not at liberty to discuss it. But I'm just saying you got to consider your source. You want to surround yourself with people who's going to be honest with you, and that's what gets a lot of people in trouble. I look at say for instance, I'm gonna just say R. Kelly. I don't know all the situation with R. Kelly. I wasn't there, but anybody that saw him doing something wrong, whether he was paid, whether it was somebody he loved, somebody he was in a relationship with, if you sat there and saw him do something wrong and didn't say, hey man, you shouldn't be doing this or whatever, then I'm sorry. I just kind of feel like if it would be me, I'm not gonna judge nobody else. If it would be me and I love somebody, or I was around somebody, or they were paying me to keep them on the straight and narrow, I would not have a problem with saying, no, you don't want to do that. I would not. I have been in situations where I have had to be criticized and disliked because the decision I made, people may not have liked it, but it was just right, and yeah, that's just how life is. I just can't say yes to something that the answer should be no to, and in a situation where I guess some people feel like, well, I need to live, who do you put your faith in, man or God? Because if you're doing the wrong thing, what if you got the same charge he got? So I don't know. I mean, do you value money more than doing what's right, what's godly? I don't know. Life is complicated. I know everybody want to make right decisions, and we all fail. I have. I'm not perfect. It's not what I'm saying, but I try to do better, and I try to make things better for other people, not just for myself. But a lot of times people don't want to listen. They don't want your opinion, but I'm telling y'all, I have learned a lot from being on YouTube from other people. I sure have. And I appreciate those people, and I try to give credit as much as I can. Y'all know for a fact, even if you watch my cooking videos, you'll see why I say I was watching this video and this person did this and I wanted to try it, or this is a video, or this is a recipe I saw somebody else do, I want to try it. A lot of people will never give anybody else credit. Let them tell it. They came up with the recipe. They perfected. They've been doing it for years. Not me. I'm gonna tell you. Just like that fried baby back ribs. Okay, it's a guy that has a food truck. I know he sold them, but before I knew about him, we had gone down to a funeral in Natchitoches, Louisiana, and we stopped at a convenience store because it was hot to get something to drink, and they had a kitchen in that convenience store, and it was very clean. You know, you could see the counters was the stainless steel was shining, and the grease didn't look old. I said, oh, this is a clean place. So I stopped there, and they had fried ribs. I think they were like $1.50 each or something. I don't know, but I got them. Y'all, that rib was, and I think I just got one. That thing was so good. And so that's when I came home and I started researching. Well, the fried ribs videos I saw on YouTube, I went on YouTube, but the ones I saw, they said that you needed to boil the meat first. And I was like, no, I don't want to boil it. Because I'm thinking, you know, and honestly, y'all, if you do, you go in there and fry it, it tastes just like a pork chop. But you want to get the baby back ribs because the baby back has more meat. If you get that St. Louis style, you're going to have too much fat. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But I'm just saying, I'm serious, I didn't see any fried rib recipes that didn't call for it to be boiled when I was researching. I see a lot of them now. I don't know if people had been doing it and wasn't sharing it, but like I say, I always reference where I got something from because it causes, I want people to realize something. Everything is not a competition. You don't have to compete with people in everything that you do. There's enough wealth for everybody. And I think what happens is that's why we got such a big degree of separation in those who have and those who have not, because a lot of times those who have don't want to share with the have-nots on how to do better. I don't have that problem. I mean, I've actually told people about jobs that somebody had wanted me to go get, but hey, what God has for me is for me. Like, I remember this time I was dating this guy, and something had come up. And I said, well, is that something? We had an argument about something. I said, is that how you treat all your women? But you jealous? Let me tell you something about me. I ain't jealous of nobody, because what God has for me is for me. I may have to go through something to get it, but when it's mine, it's mine. That's one thing I know about God. The blessing with my name on it is not for somebody else. It's not, because it's mine. He has it for me. And people just got to have that outlook on life. Man, hey, we go through things. I haven't always been the person I was. I mean, I haven't always been the person I am. I had to go through things to get to where I am in life today. But you live and you learn. And like I tell people, man, I've lost so many people I love. Close friends, my mom, my dad. And all that stuff, you know, I like nice things. I don't worship them. I love people. I use things, right? And I mean, you know, I'm just a common, everyday lady trying to do what's right and trying to get to heaven. Yep. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. And I was sitting and I was thinking about my brother, and I said, Lord bless him to live 73 years. He was always positive. At 3, he was stricken with polio, but he didn't let that hinder him. He graduated from high school. He went to tailoring school on a scholarship. He worked for the federal government. Until his health failed, he still voluntarily worked, you know, so he could be a productive member of society. Always positive. Always positive. Always. He used to always say, I can see the sun shining. I'm still here. You know, and you know, that's the type of that his life touched a lot of people. It really did. And he had some little funny stuff he used to say. He say, I remember he say, Nah, he did talk about this guy. He said, that guy. Oh, I know who he was. He said, I'm sorry, I love you, Keith Sweat. My brother said that Keith Sweat, all he do is beg. I say, what? And my brother, he used to say, teeth and tongue fall out there in the same mouth. I said, Lord have mercy. Y'all, that's deep, but that's true. And I think I might have shared one of my videos about that. And I remember his daughter brother. It wasn't his son, but he was good to those kids. But his daughter, her brother said this, my brother used to say, it ain't who you love, it's who love you. It's not who you love, it's who love you. I was like, wow. I don't know, but I miss my brother. He was always positive, like I said. But when I thought about him, he was only when he's older than me, and with the polio, at first he could walk without a cane, then he had to start using a cane. And his last years he's in a wheelchair. Still positive, still getting up, going to work and everything, but volunteering though. But anyway, just a good guy. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get off here. I know I've been rambling, I've been all over the place, but all I want to do is help somebody. If you're a young mother and you have kids and people offer you some advice, don't always get offended. I had my grandson this weekend, and y'all, he was 2 pounds 7 ounces, and I had to drive to where my daughter was 4 hours away to get to him. But my cousin and her husband, whatever, happened to be there, and they were there with my daughter, and I appreciate them. I love them for that. But when we got a chance to go in the NICU to see him, y'all, the lady was trying to put the oxygen on him. He was moving her hand away, and he was so thin, y'all. His skin was so thin you could see his veins and stuff in it, because he real light. He wasn't his bone. You could see his veins and stuff. But even at that little bit of stuff, he knew that hurted him, and he didn't want her to put that oxygen back on his nose. And the Lord told me he's gonna be all right. That was my confirmation. And right now, next month he'll be 4. Very smart. Anything you do for him, thank you. So he had dropped something yesterday, and I saw when it fell, but I was doing something else. And he looked at me like, I need help. Like, you see, I need help, and you're not finna come help me. So, I want to do right by people, because if the Lord take me and my kids and my grandkids are left here, I would hope that somebody would step up and help them and get them guidance, just like I try to do for other people. And my kids and I, we don't always see eye to eye about things. And when I don't think things are right, I tell them. And they've gotten mad at me about it before. But everything I do is with love to them and anybody else. It is. I was watching, I'm going to let y'all go after this, but I was watching the ID channel. I watched it a lot. And a girl, she said she was 15 years old, and she and her mom had a falling out, and she left home. She said that she had probably been gone like 3 weeks, and she said the last conversation she had with her mom, she told her mama to stay out of my life or something like that. And that was the last conversation she had with her mom, because guess what? The mom and the boyfriend or the husband or whatever was killed. Yep. Last conversation, she told her mom to stay out of her life, never knowing that that'd be the last conversation she ever had with her. And that was years ago. So y'all, I'm finna get out of here. I just wanted to come and speak, say hi, hit on this store. I gotta go back home and cook. But don't be quick to be offended when people trying to tell you something to help you. Nobody knows everything. You can learn something from a baby. And a lot of times I realize that happened with the younger generation, because you have access to Google and all that stuff. Everything that you read is not true. Just because it's written don't mean it's fact. So always consider your source. All right, y'all be blessed. I know this is long. I never create videos this long. I'm all over the place. But if anybody listening, I hope you got what I was trying to tell y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.